Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for a full-time reaction to the defeat at Ibrox, so we're just going to get it over and done with. What do you think of performance, Ryan?
That's going to be quite quick. Not good enough. I think there was a couple of glaring issues throughout the course of the match. I think McGregor needs to be our holding midfielder. I think we were too slack in possession. I think you can't take too much away from the performance of Rangers. They were the better team in the day, as much as it pains to say it. They were by far the better team in the day. 1-0 probably flatters us slightly because they absolutely controlled the game start to finish. We didn't show up. I think Edouard should have started. Rodgers said before the game that he thought Edouard didn't have 90 minutes in him. Well, and from looking at it now in hindsight, it's always 20/20 vision. Hindsight, I would think Edouard starting gives us a better kick on in the match, might help us get some sort of foothold, albeit the way we played, we didn't really create much anyway. So it's one of the ones that after 12 straight derbies where we didn't succumb to defeat, it's always coming. There's been a couple of times you and I have thought, maybe this time. You never know. It doesn't matter how form's going when it comes into these games. It's one of those games that anything can happen, and I think today was probably one of those ones that's just been coming for a while, and we haven't played that well at the start of this season. So a few things. I think Bruni's past it. As much as everyone's stood up for him, I do think he's a legend. Love the service he's given to the club, but I just feel like his time has come. He didn't boss anything in the game today at all. He was so slack in possession. Callum McGregor needs to be the man that slots in there. It's unfortunate Rogic was out because he tends to turn up in these games, albeit he hasn't been in great form either. I think it's just a start to the season that it'll be nice to put behind us, and hopefully in 2019 we can kick on and bring in a few new faces and start to regain the advantage that we had, which we let slip by not investing in the squad in the summer. So
I don't even know where to start with the day. It was just absolutely appalling from start to finish.
Yep.
You're always waiting in these games. You're always waiting, even when things are going against you. You're waiting for that wee spell that you'll have. We didn't even have a spell.
No, there was no resurgence.
We didn't have a spell. We didn't have a good concerted bit of pressure. We didn't create a lot of chances at all. McGregor had the disallowed goal.
Yeah.
And Cham had that one that was blocked late on, and that's it.
That's it. Forrest did the wee shot in the opening 6 minutes.
Aye, first shot on target. Couldn't even call that a chance. Christie had one shortly after that as well, getting a half chance, but created absolutely next to nothing. Where do you start with the errors? Like Boyata, Gordon, Lustig, Brown, and Cham.
Yep.
I mean, between them they must have just passed the ball out of the park about 10-15 times over the course of 90 minutes. It's almost a carbon copy of the first game, only the shoes on the other foot.
Yep.
When we battered Rangers in September, it was 1-0 going on 5-0. That's what it was today.
Yep.
Callum McGregor made a string of fine saves at Celtic Park. Craig Gordon done that today. For us today.
Yep.
And we're fortunate that it was only 1-0. And that's
very fortunate.
That is an appalling reflection of how that game went, because we know what derbies are like. You can get beat, and it's one defeat from 13 for Brendan Rodgers, which is, I mean, you got to lose them at some stage, but I just didn't expect the game to go like that at all. Fekir, I mean, next month, massive. There's not much football played next month, but the business that's done next month is absolutely massive for this club, because it should have been done in the summer, and this wouldn't be a conversation we're having, in my opinion. So it's a massive month. We have to take that game in hand and make it count, and we have to start putting strings of wins together. We've got to sort out that away form.
Yep. But we've just got to strengthen the squad. I mean, it's been how long have we been saying that Lustig's been a liability? Like,
years.
I don't want to go over all the shit that we talked about in the summer, but we need a right back. He absolutely sold that first goal, diving in the first goal, the only goal.
Right.
Ended up the winner, obviously. He slid off the park, sold his cell. Kent's just cut back, laid in Jack, and that was it. I mean, in midfield, Encham signed a new contract. I'd sell him.
Aye.
He's done absolutely nothing for. I know he's been out of the team for a spell, but since he's come back in, he's been absolutely woeful. And I know I've said before, either getting brilliant or terrible. He's been terrible for the last 7, 8 games that I've seen him in.
Aye. Yep.
There was talk of 15 million for Marseille in the summer or anything like that. If we can get that money for him, sell him. Brown, he's not an automatic starter anymore. Can he be? He absolutely can't be. There's no any place for sentiment in football. It doesn't matter what he done last year or in the past 10 years. He was absolutely dreadful today.
Appalling.
And we just need to go and get the players in the areas that we need. And sort this out, because we shouldn't be in this position. We shouldn't, out of the, I mean, what is it, 4 away defeats? How many games have we played? 10?
Yep. 10 away games.
4 defeats, 3 draws.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yep.
It's dreadful. But we had that dreadful start, obviously, that stemmed from going out of the Champions League and not getting the investment, and then we hit that bad on the form. We came back and we bounced back
for a short period
really well. But it's all culminated to us being here halfway through the season, levelling points, albeit with a game in hand. But we've dropped far too many points, far too many. And that's got to start. We've got to start eradicating that, and the only way to do that is to strengthen the squad. Time to jump over to Twitter for some of your guys' reaction. We'll start with James Pearson. Very poor show on the park, not enough squeeze and press, which we do every weekend. As I said last week, Aberdeen should have been a wake-up call for us, but that hasn't been answered. Celtic didn't answer the call, but the Gers won't win the league. We need investment. Boy, out. Sad sport. Rodgers needs to take responsibility for this loss. Team selection was diabolical, not starting a striker. We never got forward, and if it weren't for Craig Gordon, we may have lost by 4 or 5. Absolute shambles. January can't come soon enough. Just on the team selection there, I mean, you could say that the decision not to start a striker is diabolical, but if he's not fit enough, he's not fit enough. I mean, I know you said that he should have started him and then dealt with it, but what happens if you start him and then 15 minutes in, he needs to come off? You still end up in the same situation. The real diabolical thing is that we were in that situation in the first place. At Tinnitus Rages, Rodgers fail, 9 players fail. Callum and Gordon get a pass. Brown and Cham really no good to us, increasingly feels. Totally pumped for 90 minutes by a bang average team who wanted it more. That is the harsh reality of it. Joe Coffey, 11 strangers. Calmac wasted at left back. Would rather have had Hayes in deputising, giving Callum McGregor something to offer going forward. Worst performance in Tynecastle, 4-0. Absolutely wrong team to go with today. Bobby Anderson, too many players off the pace. McGregor was wasted at left back and should have been the first name in the team sheet in central midfield. We missed Volgic, and I think it's time for Brown to start taking a back seat. We'll finish with Callum Manson. March the 30th, the real Celtic will turn up and natural order will be restored. That is all. That's the task that awaits us in January, to sort out the areas that need strengthened and put that behind us, win the game in hand. Really hit the ground running and own-up a gap, because that was far from good enough today. You know what to do. Like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in January.
Happy New Year.